Welcome to another episode of the Random Cinematic Universe, the show where we let a randomizing algorithm choose the films that we watch and then discuss on the podcast/show. This week, Disney Plus was the chosen streaming service to pick a movie from, and the algorithm gave us The Fox and the Hound 2, which is not a sequel, it's not a prequel, it takes place somewhere in the middle of the original Fox and the Hound.
I believe it's called an intermediate story.
Midquel is what I found online.
Either way, like, most of the cast are missing. So they're just there in the first half of Fox and the Hound. Then we meander off to this little story where none of those people exist anymore. And then we come back, and they're all back again. And apparently they were just on vacation. So the Fox and the Hound 2 was at the time, I believe would have been a direct-to-DVD. Was it VHS still? Direct-to-VHS.
It would have been the cusp.
Yeah, right away. Because 2001?
No, 2006. It was straight to DVD, guys.
Yeah, it was DVD.
That's even sadder.
Released by Disney for the Fox and the Hound. It follows Todd and Copper, the titular characters. As Copper gets involved with a singing dog group at county fair
or circus. I'm unclear, and I have notes on that.
I think it's a mix of both. I think there's like some circus animals there, but it's more a county fair.
I'll have words later about this.
Okay. Yeah. Anyways, so they did not get Corey Feldman back to play Copper.
I guess we should open, I think, with some feedback. One, usually we ask, like, has anyone seen this? We all know we've not fucking watched this before.
No.
But we've all seen The Fox and the Hound, right?
No.
Yes.
There we go.
You didn't know that?
So...
Come on, it came out in 81. You hadn't seen that?
I was born in 84. I don't know.
Yeah, but that means, like, that was one of the, like, main Disney movies from...
If a movie came out before Nina, it doesn't exist.
Which makes no sense, because my favorite movie growing up was Cinderella on repeat.
Yeah.
No, I guess just Fox and the Hound, for whatever reason, slipped through the cracks. Or it's one of those things where, like, yeah, I watched it when I was 6, and, like...
You'd remember.
I don't know, I remember watching Bambi.
Yeah.
I don't remember watching Fox and the Hound.
That's what I mean.
So so you don't think I've seen it? Yeah,
exactly.
I don't think I've seen it either.
Yeah. I didn't see it before, but it's weird because 2006, this makes sense. I would have aged out, but I was like, as a younger person here, like prime demographic for like the shovelware movies being made, where they're just like, take everything we own, make a fucking sequel to it, put it on VHS. Like, I watched Mulan 2, piece of shit. I watched Lion King 2, not actually terrible, but they have a cheat because
wasn't it like a Lion King 1.5 or something?
That one's bad. But Lion King 2, because Lion King was based off of Hamlet, Lion King 2 is just Romeo and Juliet. Huh. So that one gets away with it because they're already taking a very established, like, structure and going with it. But all these movies, Return to Atlantis, whatever, like, all these movies are really shoehorned plot points into a property that you already know about. And how did you phrase it of what these movies are? For, like, the parents, last night you said a very interesting thing about it.
Oof, I don't know that I'll be able to, like, recreate the exact phrase, but the gist of it was that there was no way that we would ever be able to find this movie good. Because this movie was not made for us. It's not like Shrek or Toy Story or Frozen, where the adults get something out of the same content, where there's layered jokes in it. This is purely for children, and I guess I would have referred to it as like a child babysitter. Like, it is the movie that you put on and you sit your kid in the corner and you just leave them with it.
There were a couple of jokes in there.
I mean, were they what's the word I'm looking for? Were they just sayings?
Oh my god, half the script is just
like,
man, you're kinder than a shoehorn in a foothold. And you're like, what does that mean?
Every second sentence was an expression.
Like ducks going on a playground.
I wish that I had thought to take the time to like make detailed notes and only review the movie in sayings and quips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got loud. Zach's punishing me for getting loud.
I'm looking at the audio levels.
I'm sorry. I'll be quiet now.
That's a lie. You've lied.
No, I shaked on it.
I did know that animation quality was fairly high for a direct to home video.
The only thing I clocked that was kind of like lesser was the integration of the 3D animation in the 2D, but that I think was just an issue of the times.
Yeah,
like
that was still
the
pretty new.
playground, the fair or not Ferris wheel,
Carousel.
the carousel looked
That's where
rough
I
in a lot of
noticed it.
capacities. Also, the octopus ride. It's very briefly in the background, but there's like the shot when
It's
everything's going like
wide-
crazy. Well,
like-
specifically all crazy, and all the animals are on it.
There is one
What's it
shot
on?
of it
I don't know.
earlier as well when they're just doing like the camera angle like top down going over
Yeah.
the fair, and you see the octopus ride, which also seemed strange because the Fox and the Hound movies always gave me the feel of like this is somewhere in like the 20s.
Me too. I looked it up though. Because I thought it came out like around 30s, like Snow Whitey era, but it was 81 was the first one.
Yeah.
It's kind of unclear, but it could be like 40s, 50s, but rural.
Yeah.
Right. Because there was you and me bumped on this thing, which was the diner.
Mm.
The diner that they find the talent scout at later seems weirdly out of
For the car.
style for everything else. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, like the car is so old, and then although the argument could be made that it's a farmer's vehicle.
yeah. Well, because
Versus they're
the
in the
talent
diner.
scout's car is almost like a Cruella DeVille.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, he's clearly Boss Hoss, or what's his name from
Dukes of Hazzard.
Dukes of Hazzard. Boss Hogg?
Boss Hogg.
Yeah. With like the horns on the front and
Yeah.
Mhm.
right, and like that's like, I mean, that's like 70s. So I mean, if we're just taking them back 30 years, like 40s makes sense.
Yeah,
Mm,
could be right. It's somewhere between like the 20s and 40s.
Yeah, it's older.
I think it's somewhere in between World War One and World War Two.
I mean, I can actually
Where
probably
this
things
takes
out when the
place.
fuck did the Grand Ole Opry operate from?
Yeah.
I'm like,
I do, but it's interesting. I did not think about the animation or anything like that because, I mean,
Well-
we're here to talk about it and critique, and it was good because I found myself in the first little bit. The dog is so sad about being bad at everything and being a
Yeah.
bad dog all the time,
and,
I
and being bad at hunting, which is a really dark foreshadow.
and I felt
Yeah.
really
Oh, my note was,
No.
ah,
Oh,
yes.
she was gonna say-
Sorry. Just on that note of the dog being bad. Was yes, before the emotional destruction.
but I felt for the dog that was sad. And so like the animation, like that was like
Yeah.
well done because like the first little part I was like, I'm sick of seeing this dog being sad and called
Yeah.
the bad boy all the time. Like let's move
I
on.
would go as far as to say, at least based on memory, that the animation for the animals was as good as the original.
I mean, there's things that based on memory you might be right. The thing with these like straight to VHS or straight to DVD ones, I always remembered is like, and I don't think I would phrase it this way when I was a kid, but like thinking back, I always thought they looked weird or off. They clearly have less frames in the animation. Like they take shortcuts, right? So
Mhm.
it's not as fluid between like walking animations or whatever. They cut frames essentially. I will say, I think what really made this movie, where usually these like direct to DVD ones look like shit, and this one looked good, is the background key art was great.
Yeah.
Every static, like where you
Mm.
have the tree lines or the fair or
Mhm.
whatever, all that looked good.
There's
there was
even-
depth. There was
Mhm.
detail to it.
Yeah, there's even one of just like the cricket landing on a stump.
Yeah.
And I remember just being like, because usually in the direct to home video stuff, things like that get simplified,
Mhm.
and they're not doing the paintings that they usually do
Yeah.
in the.
Which, I mean, it's I think maybe because usually these sequels would come out almost immediately after the previous movie. This one's like a 20-year gap. So I think they might have had the thought process of like, we really have to match the style or tone. So we
Yeah.
have to go back to those matte paintings, go back to...
Mhm.
I mean, I didn't clock something that always happens in movies or in cartoons. It's my favorite thing. Even as a kid, I loved it, where you can tell something's going to move in the frame before it does because it's drawn differently.
Yeah.
I didn't
TV
clock
show
any of that.
Scooby-Doo was
Yeah.
really
Like there'll be a rock face, but then a pile of the rock faces drawn differently. You're like, something's coming out of that rock.
Yeah.
I didn't clock any of that though, where they took like the shortcut of clearly
Mhm.
cheapening the animation or things like that, which is again, power to them
Mhm.
for this film. Listen, man, this was just like song after like this was just child drivel.
yeah.
And I hate to say it, it was just song after song after song, and all the songs were about the fact that we're singing songs. That's every fucking song was about I'm singing a song right now.
Yeah, and when you look
Uh-huh.
up the Fox and the Hound 2, it's listed as a musical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
The
and
original Fox and the Hound was not a musical.
How the fuck they got Reba McEntire and Patrick Swayze involved in this is wild to me. What year did Patrick Swayze die? Was he should he have not been making this decision at this point in his life?
That's a dark question.
I think it's close.
Yeah, I can't. Maybe he was just leaving something for like his grandkids.
I guess he wanted to be remembered as Cash the dog. Which all their names are fucking
Or he
cheap.
just assumed that nobody was ever going to watch it.
I guess.
We did, Patrick. We did.
Yeah. Never forget.
Do you think he's going to watch this?
Well, he's a ghost.
He's listening from somewhere.
He's behind.
Patrick.
No, he's behind you right now, making a pot in your workshop. He was a ghost, right? I'm making that reference right.
Yes.
If that bin moves, we run. That's where the clay is.
Oh no. I did like there were some details that were fun, like all the singing strays were named after country musicians.
Mm-hmm.
So it was Johnny Cash, Dixie. I'm assuming is Dixie Chicks.
Maybe.
And then the two twin dogs, Floyd and Waylon. It's Floyd Tillman and Waylon Jennings.
And then there was just
Granny Rose, which I couldn't clock, but I'm sure there's something.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge country buff, so I was grasping at that one, but
I want to know what did they get the cast together to record this movie? Because that would be a wild recording session of all of these people saying these lines in a room together towards each other.
I refuse. I doubt for one reason is both Waylon and Floyd were both Jim Cummings.
Yeah.
One guy played two dogs, so I guess they could back to back, but they argue with each other in the scenes.
So the actual cast listing for this movie is abysmal.
Yeah.
In the credits, it only shows like the top 5 characters, and it doesn't list anybody else. Even characters who had more than 6 lines of dialogue,
Which is a principal cast member.
It just wasn't listed. So I was trying to figure out who voiced the old dog.
Chief?
Yeah. Because it's a voice I recognize. It's one I know. I couldn't tell if that was also
Might be Jim Cummings. It could be.
I think it might have been him
I feel like
as well.
you hire Jim Cummings and just get him to do the odds. I mean, if you told me Jim Cummings was the little girl leading the fucking John Scout around, I believe you.
Because his voice is one that I recognize chiefly, I think, from Robin Hood. Like the Disney Robin Hood.
Really, because him I recognize obviously from fucking Winnie the Pooh, where he's half the characters.
No, not Jim Cummings. The voice of Chief.
Oh,
like that specific voice is a voice that was used by somebody who did a lot of Disney characters back in the day, who Jim Cummings impersonates. He's become the guy who's taken over redoing all of that guy's voices for Disney in any like sequels and stuff. Because if you look up the cast list for the original Fox and the Hound, there's a lot of black and white photos.
Yeah.
Of the cast. Most of them are no longer alive.
Yes.
With the exception of like Kurt Russell was in it. Corey Feldman played the young copper in the original. Which was wild to me. I did not realize that. I never knew that. But yeah, if you look at the original cast list, it's just like a slew of black and white photos, and then Kurt Russell and Corey Feldman.
Yeah, I don't know, like this whole movie, I'm gonna kind of give away my opinion of it, but like it just felt hollow and useless, especially for like what you're cramming this plot line in the middle of.
Yeah.
Like if this I came up with this reference that was a bit extreme. But this is as if we make a sequel to Shawshank Redemption. And it takes place while he's still at the prison. And he joins a doo-wop group in the middle of the prison, and there's a town scout that they have to impress.
Yep.
And then the movie ends with him still in prison. And
the doo-wop group gets out of prison and leaves, but he stays in prison. And then we continue on with the rest of the movie.
Yeah, but the movie ends with him being like, "I'll never stop being friends with you, old guy who goes and leaves and kills himself." And then it's be like, that feels like a useless storyline to just gone through. Like,
yeah, definitely.
It felt very like, I've never felt capitalism so hard as watching this movie, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Or consumerism, I guess.
Yeah, it was just boring. It was just images and music coming at you.
There was an elephant for a reason. I can't explain. at the fucking county fair.
Yep.
Zach, you go to the Armstrong Fair every year, right?
Mhm.
How many elephants?
None.
How many monkeys?
None.
Weird.
Everything else, pretty much what that fair was.
Also, by the way, can I talk about the town scout and how useless he is? So they get the whole thing where eventually the singing strays get to sing in front of him, and he scouts them and whatever.
Mhm.
And he's like, "Hoo-wee, I found my act." Are we implying that this town scout has been looking for a single act and failing to find it for an extended period of time, which makes him a bad talent scout?
Yeah.
Like, I hate when these movies have a talent scout who's like, "I finally found the act," and it's like, that's not how talent scouts just look for fucking everyone, pass them along.
Yeah.
And then
I go, hey, I found all of these different people.
you figure it
Send
out.
you in,
Yeah.
audition them, see who you want to use, who you don't.
Ooh, one thing I did quote that was fun was when he was going through all the different scouts or like the talent acts, and like you see him afterwards, like on fire from the fire spitter, and then the snake charmer.
The flea circus.
Yeah, but then the snake charmer, and he's like wound up by the snake. Did you notice his eyes?
They're green.
They're doing the fucking
The trippy thing from Jungle Book.
yeah. What's the name?
Ka.
Ka. The snake from Ka when
Yeah.
it hypnotizes them. I was like,
Yes.
that's fun.
Also, that little girl is an agent of chaos.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, she reminds me of Brooke.
Yeah.
No.
I got Brooke vibes.
Absolutely. I was like, this is
As a
Brooke
reference
as a child.
that Zach might get, she reminds me of literally the agent of chaos from Sandman when they're trying to take over Hell.
Yeah.
The little girl who's like, I represent the Lords of Chaos. Like, she
Yeah.
literally is that character who literally represents the Lords of Chaos.
I definitely wanted more of her.
I like how later at the Grand Ole Opry, she's in the crowd, and the guy's like, I need to.
Or he just freaks out.
Yeah.
As soon as he sees her in the crowd, he's just like, no,
Not
and just
doing
walks
it.
off stage.
Not doing it.
I want to know why the singing strays had a cat.
Oh, the one
He
that-
was their slave.
The chain smoker?
Wait,
Zelda?
no.
Zelda? Who's like, listen, honey, eating the dog one's like, you'll need to go straight to your hips. Like,
Because
It's just weird.
she straight up is just like, they'll just keep you in the back and make you do all the chores.
It's such a dark thing.
yeah.
All she ever does is insult Dixie and eat her bones for her.
I will say, and I don't know if I missed this like subplot in the first movie. It feels like Amos Slade. I can't remember the woman who adopts the pup, who adopts Todd.
Oh, I can never
The
remember
woman.
her name.
Yeah.
They
It
are
seems-
former lovers.
It seems like they're dad to fuck. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was gonna say.
Well, okay, so at first, the movie starts, they have the whole interaction, and she's like, oh, you're gonna shoot your face off. He's like, it's my face! As if that's the, ultimate comeback.
yeah.
And the first note that I made about it was, healthy couple. It took me, like, halfway through the movie to be like, oh,
They're
they're not wife
Yeah.
and husband. They're
neighbors. Yeah.
Yeah, they're neighbors.
Because if I remember, the original Fox and the Hound plotline is he gets a copper, like a new part. She finds Todd, who's an orphaned pup, raises him, and they, as like neighboring things, interact. She's always like, leave your hound dog, or keep your hound dog away from my fox. He's like, keep your fox off my fucking land. And then, but they become friends throughout that, and then they go through a winter and spring, and they're mature adults in the spring. And it just ends really nicely.
Mm-hmm.
No, then Chief gets hit by a fucking train, and then they
I forgot about that.
blame Todd for that, and Copper with Amos starts hunting him, and then they find a bear. They fight the bear and almost kills Amos, like fucking badly.
Yeah.
And then Todd helps fight the bear off, and then they basically share one look of like, hey, like, we can't be friends anymore, but I still love you, and then they leave, and then it just ends.
Yeah, well, because Todd also like finds a girlfriend and they start a family.
Yes,
and
yeah.
And Amos tries to burn them out of their den.
But I'm really
It's
glad
not-
they had
but
this
it's
moment.
movie.
I'm really glad they had this moment of singing in between. I was actually, as the credits were rolling, I was like, hold on, there might be an after credit scene where it cuts to like the darkest part of the first movie, and be like, no, like almost like the Martha, why did you say that name? It's like, remember when we sang at the fair?
Ugh.
Well, the truth is, I had to watch this movie in 2 sittings, which
Yeah.
is something I often have to do.
It's just like
But
80
it was
minutes.
just
No.
bad. I was
No,
like,
it's
I
a
need a
full hour and
break.
a half.
I would
Is
need a
it?
break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was shorter for some reason.
No, it's
No.
an
This
hour and a half.
is the first movie that for this podcast I went. Maddie hadn't been feeling well, so she was still having a nap, but Avon was awake, and I just plunked Avon down on the couch next to me,
Oh,
and we just watched the movie.
what was her reaction to it? Out of curiosity.
Oh, she thought it was great.
Of course.
Well, then.
But she's
Yeah.
3.
Well, I mean,
But I mean, that's kind of who the movie was made for.
That's why I was actually curious. Like, what was her?
yeah.
Yeah,
like-
no, she just like plunked down on the couch and was just like, haha, puppy, haha, fox. Oh, look, they're singing. Like, this is great.
What, are you going to show her Fox and the Hound, the original?
Not yet.
I mean, why not?
And Maddie, yes. Avon, not yet.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want to wake up in the middle of the night for the next 2 weeks. That's
No,
why.
that don't happen yet.
I don't think I have anything else to say.
I really just don't want to talk about it anymore. It's already eaten up so much of my life. I don't want to give it any. Like, it's not. Like, it's just.
Oh, okay. So
Guys, we haven't hit half hour left, and that's including the 7 minutes start.
maybe it's just
Shiza.
a short. Like, it's a kid. It's a little kids movie. Like,
We're
maybe
at
I
fucking
need to
29
start-
minutes.
Okay,
We've talked for 22
okay,
minutes.
so
about
The
one
next
stuff like
time-
a year.
This next time this kind of a movie comes up, I am watching it some sort of intoxicated. And I mean deeply intoxicated.
Yeah.
Like, I need to be in another mind state to
Like,
do
we need to
this.
be like on drunk movies level. You weren't there.
Yeah. But I remember.
Yeah, Jesse
I
knows.
remember.
Jesse knows how much you need to drink to hit that level.
I mean, like, let me grasp at straws here.
The one point in the movie where it could just be because of the baseline set by the film, but when they're like getting ready to practice singing and the granny dog's just doing the ass drag across the floor.
Yeah. That
Um,
happened.
It did. I had a note about
The bar scene was weird.
Dixie just being Yoko Ono.
Oh my god.
Like, it was her whole thing was like she wanted all the attention. She got pissed off about it, so she was sabotaging the group so that she could get the attention again, and it could all be on her. And she was absolutely the Yoko Ono of that group.
I mean, depending on how like Amos handled his gun, like she could have easily become the Courtney Love.
Just no. I forgot about this note. So the end of the movie, the kids like trick Dixie and Cash into meeting up, and they get together and everything.
I didn't really understand the trick. Like Todd's like
They were just like, he's
come
in trouble.
here, and then
Come.
yeah, it's kind of weird.
Anyways, my note was just the one time injecting children into the situation fixed the marital problems.
Oh my god. No, the Parent Trap. That worked.
Did it?
I think so.
I guess in the end it did.
How's Lindsay doing these days?
Great. She's on a Hallmark.
Oh yeah,
movie
she
on
got a
Netflix.
Netflix Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Cleaned up her image.
Absolutely. Good for her.
She had a little rough patch there.
Yeah, we all did. It was
It's a dark time.
the odds were rough.
Do we even want to rate this one?
We have to.
Okay.
Okay. We're doing it by like 2 different metrics now, right?
Yeah. So technical and
Enjoyment.
entertainment.
Technically, it's fine.
Technically, yeah, good.
It's absolutely fucking fine. I'll be honest. I hate the songs, but they're not terribly done. They're uninspired and basic, but they're well mixed, well sung,
Yeah.
well
That's
composed.
the
I
thing.
guess.
Reba is still a great singer.
Yeah.
Patrick Swayze can sing a lot better than I expected him to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's like a 7 for entertainment for me.
7 for entertainment?
No, technical.
Technical, sorry.
Yeah. I'd say I'd give it for the times and for it being
Low budget,
cartoon, no budget. I'd give it a 7.5.
Technical?
Technical.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing. It's like, is it peak Disney animation? No.
No.
Is it better than their average straight to DVD stuff? Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I'd put it in there. Now, entertainment value.
2.
4. Maybe a 5.
You know what? I'm going to go
4 is
based
harsh.
on my 3-year-old child's reaction
That's fair.
as the market for the movie. Her reaction was great. She probably gave it like a 6 or 7.
No, you're right. You're right. 'Cause
I'd give it like a 3.
No, but the thing that I always... You're right. You brought up my point. And I say this on the podcast a lot. I always have to judge something based on its intention.
Yeah.
No, the entertainment
No.
rating is purely for yourself. It is how entertained you were by the movie. That's what I was just saying.
Okay.
If I had, because I had my 3-year-old with me,
I don't know. I would say like if we're
she
judging
really
intention,
enjoyed it.
this is still not great. I would say it's a 6 or 7 in what it's going for its demographic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, absolutely it's a 2. I'm not. I don't. I also had the weird thing where like I was bringing something into it, right? That like I was bringing. I've seen the Fox and the Hound. I've seen the emotional through point and the weight of that, and like this movie absolutely pales in the comparison. Like this is not even in its shadow. Like it's so separate from it that take any like heavy emotional moving film and trying to make it completely disconnected and really not have emotional beats other than like at the beginning and at the end. Like at the beginning it's like Copper sad. And then there's not really a true conflict. Like Todd's kind of on edge, and then one thing happens. They're upset with each other for like 3 minutes of screen time.
Yeah.
And then he fixes it. And they're best friends again. Like knowing that's within the framework of this overarching story of the Fox and the Hound, like the first one, and how dark and heavy that one gets, this just feels so cheap and useless.
Yeah,
it
does.
Really does.
Right? Like, and that's why it's just not good.
Yeah.
No, it's not. I'm gonna go back to my 4 out of 5. Because colors are nice, songs are nice, voices are good. Like for
the songs
enjoyment.
were nice, but the songs were repetitive. I'll say.
Yeah. I didn't feel like there was a lot of
we're in
range
harmony and harmony.
It's my entertainment rating, and
That's
I'm
fair.
saying it's 4. I'm being kind.
No, but as a man, I need to explain this to you.
Oh!
Well,
is that just the
we're ending on my
shortest?
mansplain joke.
that was
This is like 24 minutes
that was
long,
a
dude.
very short episode of the Random Cinematic Universe, the show where we let a randomizing algorithm choose the films we watch and talk about.
This was as short as like an episode of a shitty cartoon sequel series on the Disney Channel.
Yeah, I know, man. There was not a lot to talk about with this.
An episode of Hercules was longer than this episode.
And we would have had more to talk about because that show was great.
That shit fucking slapped.
Anyways, next week is Triple Frontier from 2019 from Netflix.
Ooh, that's the Ben Affleck
That's
movie.
a Mark and Jacob episode.
Mark Jacobs
hosting with me. I totally forgot to introduce you guys at the beginning of the episode.
Hi, I'm Jesse.
That's Dina.
Hi. Why does his gun keep going off?
Amos?
Yeah, that's really annoying.
Yeah. Oh no, that gun was dangerous.
Like, it's... we're getting weird feedback.
I don't know if it's in the mics or not. Whatever.
Oh, whatever. Yeah, I looked at my notes as we were wrapping up, and I was like, that's really the only
Gun
thing.
go boom.
Yeah,
But
I did actually have that note. Amos's gun is shit. Goes up. Anyways, episode's over. We ended it. We did. Like I did the whole outro, and then you're like, by the way, this thing.
So, anyways, next week is Triple Frontier with
Mark and Jacob, and it's on Netflix. Now, I'm gonna put a slight caveat at the end of this episode. I went through the randomizer and built a schedule last year, about this time last year. Some of these films are no longer on the streaming services that I originally just picked. Netflix, hit random, picked Amazon, hit random. So if you're trying to find the film, it may not be on the streaming service anymore, and I apologize for that. But I'm going to keep stick to the schedule that I've created.
I think you'll be safe with Triple Frontier, though, because that was a Netflix original.
Yeah, and also there's only 4 more after that, and then we'll start doing newer ones. But we ran into that issue this week where we were trying to watch a movie, and it turned out it was no longer available.
We would have talked about this, which is both Dark Tower and In Dreams are no longer available on streaming.
Yes. So
for free, at least.
Yeah, you can get them for like $3.99. But the point of when I started the show was that we would just use streaming services that were included and not be having to rent films or purchase films on Apple, things like that. Anyways, we'll see you guys next week. That was a short episode.
We're still not 30
Hey, maybe
minutes.
more people will watch it because it's short.
That was the logic they had with the original theatrical release of Justice League, and that didn't work.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why it's so quiet. My volume was turned down. Turn Jesse up a bit. I think
If I wanted to tilt it towards me, would that help?
no, because it's the face of it. It's
Yeah.
basically you look at a little butt, and if the little butt is pointed at you, then you're fine.
Okay, I'm looking at the butt.
There you go.
Yeah, that sounds. I mean, the tricky
Like
thing.
I want to get right up on that butt.
Yeah, right up on that butt. The tricky thing is like